about the production.
Welcome to this very special episode of Owlia's Opinions, the podcast in which we take a better look into the world we love, learn new things, and debate the toughest issues the world has in store. I am your host, Armon Owlia. I am a journalism student here at Drexel University in Philadelphia, and it is time to enter the new School of Thought. Well, here we are. It's hard to believe that 1 year ago, I began this show with nothing more than a laptop, a blue snowball USB microphone, and a tremendous desire to teach you guys about the world around you. And now 1 year and now 28 episodes later, we are in the second season of a show, getting ready for the third, and having a great time along the way. A little bit of warning here. This episode will not be like any other episode we've done of this show. There are surprises and things that I've never done, so I'm quite excited to share these with you. With that in mind, let's get started with the Year of Opinions. I have talked about making changes in the past, but I'll tell you what. The changes that are being done right now for Season 3 are probably the biggest and most substantive changes we will ever make to the program. On May 6th, I announced that starting in Season 3, I would be bringing in a co-host who was later codenamed the Demon. Since then, I have given 7 clues as to the Demon's identity, with the most recent one coming out today. I also promised that in this episode, the Demon would speak. I am indeed a host of my word. However, there are a few caveats and things I should let you know before the interview begins. First, the Demon's voice has been electronically altered and disguised to protect her identity. Also, there is a bit of adult language on her part, so kids, if any of you are listening, you might want to skip ahead or bring your parents in for supervision. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the Demon has arrived. So, my dear Demon, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Yep.
All right, not much. So let's begin. So tell us a little bit about yourself. For example, how old are you, where you live, your hobbies, etc. In other words, who exactly is the Demon? Without saying your name.
Well, let's see. I went to the Juilliard Business School. I lived through the Black Plague, and every time I keep killing, it gets funnier every time! Each time I do it!
Okay. Seriously, though.
Seriously, though, I am 19. I am going to school at Dean College, and, let's see. I don't give a about life, so if anybody tries to hunt me down, they can give it their all. I will still laugh in their faces.
Ooh, language. But okay, don't worry. We can censor that out a little bit. That is.
You can try, buddy boy. You can try.
All right, I will try. So, before you went to Dean College, I know you, I'm not going to say the name of the school because I would give away your identity, but you've lived in the States now for some time. You and I met in Hong Kong. So how is living in the States compared to living in Hong Kong?
They do not understand the troubles of literally everything outside their own country. Seriously, the U.S. does not know beyond their own borders.
You're telling me.
Literally, I mentioned the Hong Kong riots and they went, what?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I mentioned that on the show. I probably will in the future about the Hong Kong riots. It definitely changed a lot of people. I think you and I definitely it changed us a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The power of a vote.
I mean, I had friends there. They got pepper sprayed. They were crying. I had to bring some of them to the hospital.
Ugh. Definitely a worse experience than mine.
Yep.
Yep. So, how did the chance to become the co-host of Olia's Opinions and now the Old School Demon Show come to you?
Oh, well, you came up to me and asked, do you want to do it? And I said, sure. Why not? Spread my evil a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, personally, for those of you who don't know, the Demon and I have been friends now for almost the better part of a decade. So we've known each other for a while. And when I came to Hong Kong, I'm not sure who brought up the idea first of potentially doing a show together, whether it was you or me. But we started talking about sort of a bit where I would essentially be, at the mercy of the demon. Essentially, the demon would get me into trouble and I would get physically hurt. So
No, not physically hurt, just arrested, maimed, probably at the hand of some inmate, and then I would end up popping up somewhere going, ha ha, you failed, you son of a.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely mentioned John Cena as an idea. That would have been really funny, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely would have been. Imagine getting the attitude adjustment through a table.
Womp womp.
Indeed. So, what exactly do you think you'll be able to bring to the table of both shows?
Well, besides from a sense of reality and also crazy, let's see. Definitely more of the pop culture side of the show. Definitely towards more of what's happening in the life of actors and also TV, movies, film, whatever the hell you want to call it. Oh, and video games, beyond anything, video games.
Oh, man. And that is why I love to have you as my co-host. That is exactly why. I know you'll be able to do some things that are just things I could never do in a million years, things I could never touch in a million years. So I really am excited. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this at all, but I really am excited.
Oh, that should be fun.
Indeed. Yeah, so one last question. What exactly are you looking most forward to when it comes down to this?
Oh, definitely beating your butt.
Oh, that's really nice of you to say. I mean that.
Beating your butt and getting you into trouble and looking like a badass every time.
All right. That's true. So after December 15th, when we will finally know your identity, because keep in mind, we're keeping it secret until then.
I think people are starting to guess. You're giving away 2 good clues.
I know. I wish I could give away clues that were more vague and ambiguous. The first one definitely was. Not sure how many people actually read the Da Vinci Code, but that definitely was not easy.
That was Da Vinci Code?
That was Da Vinci Code, yeah.
I thought that was hieroglyphics!
I wish it was hieroglyphics. No, that was, I already revealed what the meaning of that clue is, so it's pretty easy to guess now. And I know some people probably have already figured it out. But yeah, I mean, after December 15th, it's not just going to be my show, it's going to be our show. And I'm really excited until January, which is when officially you will be coming on. Demon, thank you so much for being on the show, and I hope to hear from you soon.
No problem. Well, so you better watch your butt and not come after you.
I promise I will. Thank you so much for coming on.
No probs.
All right. Cheers, Demon.
Cheers.
Oh, that Demon. I can't wait for you guys to meet her in person. So what do you guys think of her? Please go to www.lovelearndebate.com, go to the Love tab, and you'll find the full transcript of our interview there. As many of you know, I don't just do informational broadcasting, but I also do some musical promotion. And I decided for this episode that I'd bring back a few artists that made our show extra special. So we're now going to take a short break. When we come back after a performance from Kada, I'll be answering a few questions I received via social media. And the answers might surprise you. We'll be back after this.
Yeah, I wake up with everything alright. You pick me up, we walk up to the morning light. The sun is kind of blinding up my eyes, but fuck it, I came outside to feel alive. When everything comes crashing down and nobody's around, when I'm left with nothing holding on, I know to call you up. In the heat of the moment, when I'm lost in my mind, I am burning like embers, 'cause I'll always remember sensations of love and the pain all at once. No matter the chaos, you still love me the same. Though we're swimming through riptides, we will always have flames. We're racing through memories, we're racing through time, and all of this energy has got me out of my mind. When everything comes crashing down and nobody's around, when I'm left with nothing holding on, I know to call you up. In the heat of the moment, when I'm lost in my mind, I am burning like embers, 'cause I'll always remember sensations of love and the pain all at once. No matter the chaos, you still love me the same. Though we're swimming through riptides, we will always have flames.
So that was Always by Kada from her yet-to-be-released album Jackpot. This is the second song she has released from the album, and already I'm quite excited to officially promote the album when it's officially available for purchase. Kada has been a friend of mine now for more than 5 years, and I knew her even before she began doing cover songs. I've been proud to say that I've seen her evolve as an artist in ways not many people can evolve. She has been amazingly gracious and always allowed me to play her songs on the program, all of which are pretty cool and nice songs to listen to. So, Kada, if you're listening, thank you so much for the last year and your history with this show. I hope that this relationship continues into the future. Again, the song is Always from the upcoming album Jackpot. The songs currently on the album are available exclusively on YouTube, although I suspect that they will become available in the near future on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Links will be in the description, and I will keep you guys in the loop when the album officially comes out. So for the past month, I have been asking you, the listeners, to post questions that I would answer with only one rule: no spam. I took a look at all the questions, 14 in total, and I picked 6 that I will answer here on the air. 7 of the other questions will be answered online, and the final one, the 14th question, well, wait a bit, you'll find out. So with that being said, let's get down to the questions. First one asks, what made you originally want to do podcasting? Ooh. So it's a very long story, one that goes back around 10 years ago. I mean, I've always been interested, and I've always felt that podcasts are the future of broadcasting. You know how the Buggles sang the song, Video Killed the Radio Star? Well, to that end, the internet killed the newspaper column, and now podcasts, in my mind, will kill the radio within the next 30 years. Podcasts can be actually very cheap and easy to do. The most I've ever spent for the show was about $120, and that was for the 2 Blue Snowball USB microphones in my possession. But this podcast in particular was born partially out of frustration and partially out of genuine passion and curiosity. When I began working for The Triangle, which is Drexel University's newspaper, I was becoming highly frustrated because, and I must preface that with sounds stupid in 2020 hindsight, but I didn't have it at the time. I felt like I was working very hard with very little results being shown. I know, sounds petty, but I was a lot younger, just beginning my freshman year, and we all know how that feels like. In any case, I kept bringing up how podcasting could overtake the print paper to 2 of the editors-in-chief, who will go unnamed. The first one dismissed it entirely because, to be honest, he was very lazy. The second one was genuinely interested in the idea but didn't want me attached to it. It wasn't personal. However, I was only a staff writer working for the opinion A&E sections with 0 experience in editing for the paper, and that editor-in-chief would have felt more comfortable with the section editor running the new podcast division. That really lit a spark in me because I knew my capabilities. Plus, I had been doing a lot of editing not only in print but also in video for many years before that. So, yeah, I was a bit offended. The idea for the show itself actually came while working with my mother in San Francisco. I brought up the idea over dinner, and I must add, as supportive as she can be, I was afraid she would try to talk me down because the idea seemed very grandiose. However, she was actually 100% supportive, and in fact, it was actually she who came up with the Love Learn Debate moniker that I've been using since the very first episode on October 6, 2017. My personal contribution to that was the new school of thought, which was how I tried to market the podcast when it first came out. Although, as you can see, Love Learn Debate, or LLD, is not the primary component. So the short answer is that I did it out of passion for the medium and because I thought it would be fun to do. But also, I did it because of a major chip on my shoulder and the need to prove myself. A combination of the two really did help me. Next question. Why did you start LLD? Well, that's a much shorter response. Well, LLD at the beginning was not LLD, but OPN. If you look at season 1, that's an acronym for Owlia Podcast Network. I began that because in case I wanted to do more, I could put them under the same umbrella. However, of course, when Love Learn Debate became the focus for season 2, I changed it up, and I feel that LLD is actually now much larger than what it was designed for. It has become, for me, my ultimate creative outlet where I can stretch my wings and fly, as well as one that has supported many artists over the last year, as you can see throughout every episode we've done. Do you think big tech and social media has helped or hindered people's ability to engage in meaningful and intelligent political dialogue? Ooh, that's a really good question. That would honestly depend from person to person and also on the ethnicity, social background, overall media diet, educational background, etc. And also what counts as intelligent to people. I mean, basic literacy of a subject can be considered intelligent. So I'm going to assume that you're talking about strong overall knowledge that goes beyond the basics. In that case, I think that while big tech and social media has done both, because we now have access to the most amount of information that at any other time in human history, and it will continue to grow until we are gone from this planet for the most part, it's actually hindered people's abilities, as amazing as development has been. And this is not the fault of any one person. However, I think that while we have a lot of information and we have the exposure, the two things that are lacking in society now is a sense of analyzing the data and coming to our own conclusions. Add in the fact that because we have a lot of information, people don't think questions are necessary. That's why I encourage people to ask questions and to get a discussion going so that we can all teach each other, because everyone has the capability to bring up a valid point. I feel that my answer is not just way too long. However, I can summarize by saying that for now, it has hindered people's ability, but however, social media has the capability to help foster the ability. So the answer right now is hinder, but I never settle on it, so only time will tell. Let's see, next. There have been so many great episodes. Which one was the most memorable or important to you, and what made it so? I've had so many favorite moments, and definitely I feel my best work has come with the second season of the show. However, if I had to pick the episode that was the most memorable and important, I would probably choose the 10th episode of the second season, which is called Carrying Comedy and Show Ending Comments. I love, first of all, talking about political topics on not only the show, but also my work in print and television news. However, this is one of the few episodes where talking about politics wasn't necessarily a must, and I could truly discuss not just what was on my mind, but I also got to look back on my childhood and gain some perspective. For that same reason, I also love the episode called Bourdain, Booze, and Russian Boycotts, because underage drinking and depression are both issues that I hold close to my heart and just troubles me in general. The final one does not count as an episode, but I did an online exclusive the week I was in Hong Kong based upon my old English class. Miss Freeman, I know you're probably listening to this, and yeah, I did use the sources you passed on heavily. Who knows, maybe in the future when teaching Scarlet Letter, you can use what I wrote as a teaching tool. Most memorable episodes and moments for me were those I connect to on a very personal level, not just on material, but also in music. So with those two combined, I would say Carrying Comedy and Show Ending Comments, but only for now. There have been a lot of good shows, so it's hard to pick one. How do you plan to market your show to people like me? I'm like a dinosaur, sorry, still haven't listened to a podcast, ever. I like the visual connection and I like old things. Well, honestly, the main goal to season 3 of the podcast, as well as the first season of our new monthly YouTube series, The Old School Demon Show, is to transition into a mixed medium. Olia's opinions with name here will be a mixed bag, with the Demon, my co-host for both series, providing visual creations of her own design that will not only supplement but also expand on the series. Plus, with the Old School Demon Show, not only will we learn, but we'll also have a lot of fun. You can take a look back at the interview I just conducted with the Demon for more. Plus, there's always guerrilla marketing, and if the demand is right, we might start making merchandise. We're just waiting for the right time to pull the trigger on that, because believe me when I tell you, there are many things I have said and many things the Demon has both said and done that could look good on a t-shirt. Only kidding. In any case, Season 3 would be an improvement to be sure on Season 2, and that's the best I can personally do at the moment to best market the show to people, or extinct dominant species like you. Finally, will you continue on? And what do you think of the idea that environment in the United States heavily affects the culture of that region? Do you think there's a dominating culture in the United States? So I'll answer this question in reverse. First, the environment. I seriously doubt in this context you're talking about the actual physical environment that would normally be associated with geoscience. So I'll assume social and political based on the final question you put in. I definitely think that the environment in that sense does actually play a very strong determination of the actual culture. For example, when Obama was in office, there was more of a culture of understanding and progress, which was notable, especially within the Affordable Care Act and the nationwide legalization of gay marriage. As he was a president more focused on the future of America and one who promoted overall acceptance within his work, that's understandable. There was a very silent minority, however, in white supremacists and those frustrated by this change, one that was not only represented by Fox News and Breitbart, but also one that has become the vocal majority. Trump has truly turned the culture around in two Americas. One that recognizes Trump as the president and can only be on a spectrum of supporting him because he's the leader of the Republican Party, to those who you saw in Charlottesville last year. The other America is one that doesn't recognize Trump as leader and is also on a spectrum. One that believes in a moderate solution where the two parties need to work together to thrive and advance the countries. And the other end of the spectrum believing that the alt-left radicalism of the Democratic Party through Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren is the answer, saying that their opinion and their opinion alone is right. So yeah, culture does affect the environment, and it also depends on who is the leadership. Now, as for dominant culture, I hate saying it because I want to believe that American culture is its own and quite separate, but white culture does tend to be the dominant culture just based on overall American history. If you look at it, white culture has been dominant since the beginning of America as a country. However, in reality, it shouldn't be the case. The beauty of America is that it's the great melting pot of culture. Go to New York, Philadelphia, or San Francisco for proof of that, and each culture contributes something that makes America an amazing country to live in and experience. So there is a dominating culture, but honestly, there shouldn't be. Finally, the question of will I continue on? I did confirm there will be a Season 3, but as for Season 4 and beyond, well, that would depend on you guys, actually. I've honestly considered ending the podcast after Season 3 wraps in December 2019 because of a lack of audience engagement. This can't truly continue without you guys contributing your thoughts, so my answer is I hope I can continue on, but that will completely depend on the listeners who keep tuning in and engaging. When it comes to the future, I never say never. So many good questions asked, and I've done my best to give you as good an answer as I could. If you asked a question, didn't hear it, do you want to know my answer? What do you guys think? So put a comment on www.learningdebate.com, go to the Learn tab, and you'll find the article there. So we're going to take another break with an exclusive given to us by our very first musical guest and frequent contributor. When we come back from a performance by Jack with No K, which he did live from Nashville, I'll close out the episode with a few final remarks.
Well, they blew up the chicken man there last night. Blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, they're ready for a fight. Gonna see what them ragged boys can do. And there's trouble busting in from out of state. The DA can't get no relief. Gonna be a rumble on the prom tonight. The commissioner's hanging on by the skin of his teeth. Well, everything dies, baby, it's a fact. But maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Well, I got a job, not put my money away. But I got that kind of zest that no honest man can pay. So I blew out what I had from that Central Trust, and I bought us 2 tickets on that Coast City bus. Well, everything dies, baby, it's a fact. But maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Oh, meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Well, I love me up down and I love maybe cold, but for you, forever I'll stay. And I wanna win sentence of gold, but put your stockings up, 'cause it might get cold. Well, everything dies, baby, that's a fact. But maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Oh, meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Looking for a job, but it's hard to find. There's winners and there's losers, and I'm south of that line. Well, I'm tired of coming up out on that losing end. So I talked to a man last night, gonna do a little favor for him. Well, everything dies, baby, that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, in Atlantic City. Well, everything dies, baby, that's a fact. But maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty, meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Oh, meet me tonight in Atlantic City.
Normally, I would start a debate at the end of this program. However, like I've done most of this episode, I'm going to break from tradition and take some time to tell you guys something important. The great poet Robert Frost once said, "I talk in order to understand. I teach in order to learn." And honestly, for the past year, I feel that this is exactly what I've been doing. Starting out as the new podcast and now just being the podcast, that is somewhat scary, but not as scary as I thought it was going to be. When I began the podcast a year ago, I had no idea how big it was going to become, and I never knew how many people would come up to me and discuss the show and tell me how much they would love the content or the music. I mean, I've gotten a lot. I gotten a lot of that also in the last couple of days, mainly from personal acquaintances who asked me who the next musical guest is going to be and what I'll be talking about. I don't know. Much like the future, this podcast will change and be unpredictable, but always trying to keep a constant. My life has never been truly constant, and I've had tremendous ups, downs, and everything in between that has got me to this point. Whether it be growing up in the suburbs of Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania, battling social difficulties, living without a father, then leaving for Hong Kong, learning who I was and what I stood for, discovering acting, journalism, podcasting, creating my own identity and becoming an individual, learning valuable lessons I wouldn't have learned otherwise, and coming back and going to school here in Drexel, where I continue to learn every day. I mean, I've had quite a journey, one that isn't over yet, not by a long shot. However, the one constant I've had throughout my life and through the show's life is the support behind the scenes. These are the people who are not talked about at all on the show, but have played such a massive part in not only the podcast, but also my life. So I'd like to quickly thank a few people. First, to my older sisters, Ariana and Mina, to my brother Damon, Mom, I love all four of you. Thank you for putting me through the ringer and kicking my backside when need be, but always finding a way to watch my back and giving me the support I needed to get through each episode. To Nadia and Sophie and Alessio, I love you guys so much. I can't wait to see you soon. Thank you for giving me so much joy just for being your uncle. I really mean that. I love you guys. To Jack Carson, better known to everyone as Jack with no K, thanks to being the very first person to call me after the first episode came out and giving me your honest feedback. You changed the course of the show forever, and I could not have done that without your honesty and generosity. To every teacher who made a tremendous impact on my life, both living and dead, you all know who you are. I express my utmost love and gratitude. In particular, I want to name one who is unfortunately no longer with us, is Teresa Fox. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me in the first 9 years of my life. I'm forever grateful. Thank you guys all so much for helping me grow and develop. To every student I've ever had the pleasure to share a classroom with, thank you for making learning fun. Thank you to my team at the Triangle, in particular the following people: Alex Jones, Gina Vitale, Mike Avena, Maggie Federosco, Calvin Canale, Alexandra Nagy, Matthew Brooks, all of you guys who got me into print in the first place and who have been nothing but supportive at every turn of this show. But most importantly, I want to thank every person who has ever listened to this show. Every listen counts. Every piece of engagement counts. I never forget, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that has come this last year. My gratitude is eternal. As always, don't forget to like us on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/LoveLearnDebate. Follow us on Twitter @LoveLearnDebate. Follow us on our Instagram page @LoveLearnDebate. Subscribe to the podcast on SoundCloud or iTunes Podcast. And don't forget to review our show on iTunes Podcast. 5 stars would be amazing. My thanks to Omi Larejani for the graphics and show soundtrack, Hilary Lau, Lola Heffernan, and Imogen Aiken, all three of whom for their tremendous generosity in lending their voices, and to every artist who has ever agreed to come on the show for their musical contributions. That's it for the Year of Opinions. Here's to another year. But for now, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks ready to go. Thank you guys for listening for this last year. And until next time, keep loving, keep learning, keep debating. We'll see you next time in Owlia's Opinions. Goodbye.
This has been an LLD production, recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.